Look at this box. This is an amazing box. Got a very thick manual here. Some warranty information. A little foam t-shirt. I don't know, the separator. Here's the cables. We're going to discuss these cables later. This is a 3.5 millimeter termination right here. It's a right angle. These are also 3.5 millimeter, the right and left for the headphones. And then you got a big long cable. Same thing, 3.5 here. And then you got a nice 1/4 inch. As you can see, the cables, they're not bad. They're just made out of this material here. I don't know. It reminds me of a stethoscope or some kind of fiber optic cable. It's just very odd to me. Will they work perfectly? It's just very odd. You got the silky material here, and then you got the headphones themselves. And we'll get into looking at the headphones in just 1 second. I just wanted to show you what's inside the box. The stuff obviously here inside the box. I'm going to put that back because we don't need these cables. I did originally test it with these cables for a week, and then I got the new cable, which we'll get into in a little bit. Much better, in my opinion. This is a 4.4 millimeter balanced Pentacon. You can also get an XLR. This is a flow cable from Apos. Nice metal fasteners, metal splitter right there. Gold plated. Here's your 3.5s. Made out of a nice, really flexible nylon material. Unlike the stock cable, which is just weird, hollow rubberized. It's just odd. I don't know why they went with that, quite honestly. But the unboxing looks nice, doesn't it? So let's get into more. So we're going to look at the specs first of the Ananda. So we'll get into everything else in just a minute. Put it right down, right there. Spec-wise, we're looking at surprisingly 25 ohms. And the sensitivity is 103 decibels. The overall weight is 399 grams. That is 14.07 ounces for everyone. And the frequency response is 8 hertz to 55 kilohertz. That is the specifications. Now, obviously 25 ohms, 103 decibels means this thing could basically be driven off of a phone. And there is a Bluetooth version of this, so it must be easily driven. But to get, optimal performance, especially out of a good high-end set of headphones like this, this is not, generally we don't go past the mid-fi. Now I do have a couple of $600-700 earphones, and we did have the AKGs, which were I think about $1,200 or something like that. No, they were $1,400 I think for the AKG IEMs. But generally headphones were usually in the mid-fi range or the lower budget range for the headphones. This is the first one that's actually hi-fi. Hi-fi, man, it's hi-fi. But they do make a lot of budget products, obviously. Most people have probably heard of the budget products, the lowest being like, what is it called now? Before it was the HE350. Now I think it's the 35X or something like that. I don't know. I had about 4 pairs of those because they were plastic build and the yoke would crack. Same thing with the 400i's. They actually had the same body, just the 350 was a dynamic driver and all the rest were planars. I did also have the HIFIMANs that had I can't even think of the model now. I had 2 of them. I had a white and a black pair. Either way, it had a little magnetic thing on the back, and it would be open, or then you'd put the cover on it, and it would be closed. That was also a dynamic driver, and that also was all plastic built. The thing about these that we'll get into in just a minute, I'm going to need some space. I got so many boxes. I got the cable on here. We got the DD Hi-Fis that we're going to be working on and all our equipment. I'm going to move the camera over to the other side where I can have more space to work. Okay, this gives us more room to work. Let's get into wherever my mouse went. Where did the mouse go to control the screen? The biggest mistake that I ever did, my original desk, when I was just starting out and I was writing reviews, I had a 6-foot desk and I had 3 monitors, a big one in the middle and 2 on the sides. I had PlayStation 3 and 4, my Nintendo 64 hooked up, and I had room for all of that stuff and shelves and levels. Originally I had 2 giant shelves on each side, and everything fit onto that, and my speakers and everything were there, and it was really nice. I don't even have room for my speakers right now. If I had some nice speakers, I would make room, but right now all I got is a set of Bose, and they're put away in the closet because, well, they're Bose. But yeah, that was the biggest mistake I ever did, was go down to a 4-foot table from a 6-foot table. And also I'm living in a different place, so it's very small here. I'll be leaving here eventually, and hopefully I'll have a bigger place and can have a much better studio at that time. Now I'm going to look at my notes. Right now it's just been really difficult to actually leave because of the pandemic, and it's just overcomplicated everything in our lives, and I really hope that we all get back to normal real soon, and I hope everybody's safe out there. I've lost a bunch of people to the virus, and I don't want to see other people go through the same thing. Unboxing, as we saw, it's a nice experience. There is no case inside of there. There's no pouch to carry it with. I kind of would have liked that. I'm not going to be nitpicky, though, because this is a planar magnetic open headphone, and you're not going to be, putting out the garbage and going for a jog with these. You could. I think that one of my smaller amps, this definitely can drive them. Let me pull this out over here. This little guy can drive them right here. This is a balanced dongle DAC. It's not going to drive them up to the optimal performance, but it does a really decent job of driving them, and it's got the 4.4 to match my aftermarket cable that I have there. They're very easy to drive, but there's a lot of things that are easy to drive, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you're getting optimal performance out of it just because it's a lower impedance. There's other factors there, especially this being planar magnetic. They love the voltage, like my T50RPs, those are only 60 ohm, but those really like the power into them. The more power into them, the better they're going to sing to you. So I'm going to start with the unboxing. Like I said, it comes in this nice box here with this leather-like finish over the whole box, and the stitching going all the way up and everything. This is literally the best looking box I can think of that I have ever gotten. It's just really nice, and this is padded to a point. There's actually some cushion to it. The cables work good that are included. I just think they're weird material. It doesn't really impede anything. There's no of that micro feedback going up the cable. There's no impedance there. It's just the material. I don't like it personally. And that's good because there's so many aftermarket cables that would actually improve the look and everything with this. Being this cable here, you have the Apos flow cable, and it just plugs in there and it looks great. It definitely doesn't change the sound to a point where you're like, oh geez, I'm gonna have to put the other cable back on. I think if anything, it improves the micro details of this and the overall neutrality, and feels good. It has a nice feeling because it's this nice nylon material. Not to mention how hot it is looking in this red. It really looks hot. And you know, you can get it in a variety of different ones. Here's a 4.4 millimeter connection, and it just looks really great on this. I'm just going to put that off to the side there where you can see it, because I really like this cable. Honestly, I like to get a bunch for the different headphones I have. I just love that. Here's the Ananda headphones themselves. They're very well constructed. These have a decent weight to them. I wouldn't say these are super heavy, but these are far from lightweight, cheap feeling headphones. Very well built. Actually built better than the Sen 800s, which is like one of my most favorite headphones out there. Those are all plastic, and you know, they're sturdy enough, but nothing's more sturdier than a nice solid metal. You see the headband is metal. The yoke is also metal. This part, this covering part right here where the adjustment is, that's plastic. And the cup itself is plastic, but this grill is also metal. And of course it's riveted in, which is also metal. So the construction is very good. It exceeds my expectations. Definitely in the build quality. Nice pads here. This part is comfortable too. It is a rough material on the top here and like a leather, and then it's like a suede underneath. Very comfortable on the head. These pads, memory foam, but it's that quick pop back foam. Very comfortable, like a little pillow for your ear. There's some excellent aftermarket pads for this from Duconi's, which are even thicker and just overall enhance it even more, but you really don't need them. It's perfect the way it is, like that. It's comfortable. So very good build quality, extremely solid, almost all metal. The pads and the headband, very comfortable for very long listening. I'm not talking about 3 hours. I'm talking like if you're editing tracks or something like that and you're doing it for like an 8-hour day. That's how comfortable these are. Very comfortable. Solidly built. I wouldn't drop these on the floor, especially for the price they cost, but they're solidly built. And of course, this being plastic here, you know, don't drop them. Please be careful with your stuff. Please, especially when we're talking, you know, above mid-fi here, going on to like $1,700, depending on where you buy these from. I'm going to leave a link to the cheapest ones that I found, and also remember, I'll leave a link to the. As a matter of fact, I'll leave a link to Appos, and you can find this cable there. And I'll leave a link to this, and you can find this there. And they also have, you know, recertified ones. So if you want to save some more money that way, you can check out their recertified products. So I'll just leave a link to this, and then you can find these. Just look up the flow cable, and it'll be there too. So let's get into the sound signature. We've decided that they not only look good, I'm also, you know, I like the look. I like big headphones, and I cannot lie. No, seriously, I do like bigger headphones. I'm attracted to much larger headphones, like the headphone, H-E, is it DD? Headphone, all of the HIFIMAN ones, especially the rounder ones I liked. I do dig this kind of egg shape. I just like bigger headphones. Like my, what was the biggest I had until now? Trying to think what I have up in storage right now. Probably the biggest ones that I have were the Fidelios, the X2 HRs. These are much bigger, and I like these, and they're very comfortable. If this pad, this nice oval kind of egg-shaped pad, doesn't fit your ears, I don't know how big your ears are. Like, you know, they'll fit you really well. It's like a comfortable listening room for your ears with the padding, and there's a nice couch there, and there's speakers like right there, just giving you the sound and the openness of that little thin. That's the nice thing about planners is that little thin sheet there. So there isn't a big dynamic driver with a magnet and everything impeding the airflow. It is just going right in there and right to your ears. There's only a little thin thing in the way. I mean, if I hold this up to the light, you can see the light through it. If I actually hold it up without the other thing, see the light going right through it. Obviously, if the other side's there, you're not going to see the light. But so we'll get those out of the way. Build quality. If I was going to give this a rating from 1 to 5, which you're forced to on HIFI, in increments of 1 and halves, I would definitely, and I did, as a matter of fact, I gave this a 5 on HIFI. I wish I could give it more. I wish there was like a 5.2. That's how much I like this. Now, I'm not saying this is the best headphone in the world. That is arguably a conversation that could take days with companies like Focal and everything else. I'm trying to think of other things that are in the price range of this. There's a whole bunch out there. Some of the higher up AKGs. So many out there. But when you're talking about a headphone that does everything very good, I mean very well, you're talking about the Ananda. It definitely does a really good job. Now, I don't want to make this video an hour long, so I'm going to try to get to the point and make it as simple as possible and leave out some of the large audiophile catchphrases like tonality. Let's just say this has very good timbre, very good tonality. It just has excellent throughout the frequencies. And we'll start with the bass, giving a little bit more in depth. Bass is, I'm going to actually read what I wrote on HIFI in my blog. Bass is surprisingly nimble, and the Ananda doesn't disappoint here. The sub-bass is very detailed and has a presence down low, without any bloom or bleed, and the mid-bass, too, has a great amount of details and clarity. Bass in general is linear, detailed, and extremely well controlled. I couldn't have said that better, and I did. That's basically how I feel. Like this is not going to win any bass head contests, but you're not missing out on the bass because it's very well detailed. There is some depth to the bass, but it's still in the balanced kind of nature. This is far from a V shape. It's definitely not neutral when we talk about the bass. Now, there is a little bit of bleed into the lower mid-range, but surprisingly, the mid-range itself is just slightly warm. It's extremely clean. It's well pronounced. Mids have some good emotion, and while they're not totally neutral, they do have a neutral quality about them. I found them rich, very tastefully done. Vocals had a natural tone and sat somewhere just behind the instruments, yet remained very clear. It wasn't like you could detect the recession there. Overall, the mids were very, very good. Treble has a very nice, airy, and detailed presence to it. There is some good control from the lower to the top treble, and the treble comes off smooth, yet there is definitely a sparkle there, even if it is gentle. There's no spikes or harshness that at least I could detect. And there's some wonderful separation there, some wonderful details. And overall, this headphone has a nice airiness about it, a nice open feeling. And then we move on into the sound stage. And the sound stage of this is very good. The sound stage is wide open. It's one of the best I've ever heard. It has a very spacious soundstage, which is equally as wide as it is deep. A lot of sound stages are wide, or they're kind of weirdly tuned and they're deep, but they're not wide at all. I've come across a couple of IMs like that, which kind of throws you off. This is very immersive, and the people use the holographic imaging and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm not going to do that, but yeah, definitely with this. There's some great details, there's some great separation, and the imaging I wrote is near perfect with this. And these are taken from notes that I write down as I sit and listen to this for, maybe 2-3 hours at a time. Then I take a break till the next day, and then we try a different device, and then maybe the tube amp, maybe the SMSL with the THX, or maybe one of the iFi devices, the Diablo or the Nano, or the IDSD Signature, or the ZenStack, or my Un, which is a little on the bright side, or the Soundavo, which is a little on the warm side. That honestly sounds like a tube amp. It actually sounds more like a tube amp than my tube amp. Very good amplifier, by the way. I think it's like $70 now or something like that. Depending on what we're using, and we do test this on, I don't know if you follow me on Instagram and you've seen that giant stack of amplifier DACs and stuff. It gets tested on everything, and if it can be run off a phone, I actually have a stack of those as well. We have Motorola, we have LG, we have Samsung, and we have Apple. So it gets tested. We have dongles, not too many. I'm not exactly a dongle person. I like the one from DD Hi-Fi that I have, and I do have a it's kind of an AudioQuest clone, but it's only $30, and we'll be doing a video on that because I've had that for a long time, and I completely forgot to do a video on it, so we'll be doing that pretty soon. So, in conclusion, I've been lucky to hear a bunch of headphones in my lifetime, including the HG7, which I owned, and the HD800, which I only had the pleasure of using. Several HIFIMANs, including the Jade, which I wish I had to do a review, but I was just testing it at the time. The Clear Next, tons of AKGs, Fostex's best offerings, Denon, and a whole bunch of other ones. Teak. I'm trying to think of all the different names that I just got a chance to try in my lifetime. I'm not saying that this is better than some of the ones, because they all do something differently. This guy is one that is the best at all-arounding, and goes with any genre of music. So, a genre, depending on how you want to say it. My accent. Yeah, these go with anything. Any type of music you can think of. Any type of listening you want to do, from critical to just enjoyment, these go there. The bass, like I said, isn't overly boomy bass. It's very detailed and controlled bass, but it's still there. There's still sub bass there, and that's surprising. Really, from the way that they're tuned, it's surprising that you can actually hear that. They do everything very good, and for that, it's sweet, detailed, nearly neutral, not quite, not perfectly neutral, but the way that they did it is just so good. There's details there, there's micro details there, there's airiness there, there's some good bass, there's nice mids, and the highs are never harsh. For me, I think that's like perfect tuning for like a nice long listening session. Obviously, sometimes I'm in the mood for bass. I'm going to pop in some bass headphones. I'm going to put on some, maybe some my Sennheiser Urbanites, or my, X2HRs or something like that, the Fostex that I have. Maybe put those on. But for like everyday listening, critical listening, enjoyable listening. These guys can do it all, so they're well-rounded. And that makes them my favorite pair of headphones right now. Seriously, honestly, the look, the feel, the construction of these, and the sound signature make what I think is a perfect headphone. And you can also, when I put them on the signature over there, I can pop that bass boost on. And then I get even more bass out of these things. And so I can have a little bit more rumble there, a little bit more of that oomph in the bass, more of, moving north of balanced that it is. And I find that very good. I find that exactly what I'd be looking for. Seriously, this and the IDSD signature, add this flow cable in, and I'm good to go. I mean, that's a good time right there, no matter where you are. You just take those with you, and you're going to have a really nice listening session. With that, we're getting into the 30-minute range. These guys are, so good and so expensive that they deserve 30 minutes. I need to explain more about them than the usual, hey, it's a V shape and it's got good bass in this. This isn't a V shape. This is just a nice linear sound toward the neutral, has some balance qualities to it. Extremely well detailed, extremely open and airy sounding, excellent soundstage, very good comfort. I haven't detected any uncomfort with these, and I think that I went from listening to music for testing. Then we watched some TV shows. We used these as well. Did a little bit of gaming. Then we moved back into the evening. I listened to stuff. Literally didn't take them off for more than a few minutes at a time, get a little break, or I had to go do something and that, and I didn't want to carry them with me. And I didn't find anything uncomfortable. I could listen to these. I could have these on my head all day. If they weren't so big, I could probably go to sleep with them and they would be fine. Not that I would, because they are a little on the big side. I think that most people find these very comfortable, despite the fact that they just have a tilt here and no swivel. That's the only cons that I can think of. Is I would have liked to see a pouch in the box at least, or a carrying case, especially for this price range. The HIFIMAN themselves should have come up with an excellent cable like this for this product, but it's nice that they give you two cables. And, just because I don't like the material of the cables doesn't mean that they're not good cables. They're very good cables. And they're very well protected cables as well, and probably durable. Maybe that's why they did it. They wanted to make a very durable cable. I just think they look funky, They really do. They look like stethoscopes or something. I love the way this looks. Big fan. And like I said, this is, without a shadow of a doubt, for this moment. Obviously, more stuff will be coming in eventually, and maybe I'll change my mind. Who knows? But so far, this is my favorite headphone. Like I said, I get the signature. I got this. Pretty much good to go. And I'm not going to give up making reviews. I'm just saying, I think that's, for me, if I was on an island, I would take this, and the signature over there. And obviously, I'd have to have a Wi-Fi connection or my library with me, and I'd be good to go. Seriously. With that, we're hitting the 30-minute mark, and I try not to go over 30 minutes because I want to do a simple review for you. So let's just finish this off before we go past 31 minutes. The HIFIMAN Ananda is extremely well built. It's all metal, basically, except for a few parts. Very, very comfortable cushioning and headband. Very good adjustments. As a matter of fact, I have a big head, and I left it on the single adjustment, so I know it's going to fit everybody. The sound-wise is extremely good. The bass, the mids, the highs are excellent, detailed, kind of neutralist. Very good. They have airiness and even micro details to them. There's a very good soundstage with this. It's extremely open, and the imaging is spot on. It's just an awesome headphone. That's the end of my review. It's an awesome headphone. I like it, and it's one of my favorites now. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you again soon. I'll see you somewhere on the internet, whether you read my blogs or see me on Instagram or the few TikTok videos that I do every now and then. Just stay safe, and I'll see you out there. Thanks again for watching. I really appreciate it.